what's going on in the world. I really don't. It's just gone to hell in a handbasket, to use a regular, well-known phrase. But the thing is, thank God people are starting to fight back now. It just seems ridiculous that anything anybody says is held up to ransom. And you think, what's going on? It just doesn't seem right. All I'm saying is thank God for people like J.K. Rowling who are standing up and saying, no, you can't stop free speech. Fair enough, have a good debate and say why you think you don't want these things to be said or done or viewed in such a way. Put your voices out there. Great. But don't say that somebody, because you don't agree with it, because it offends you, that you're not allowed to say it. And I dread to say this, but there just seems to be too many contradictions. It's okay for one group to name call another, but not okay for that group to throw it back. So that's not fair. And as I said in a previous video, all cultures, if you want to put it down to skin colour, then all skin colours matter, not just black. Black is beautiful, yes, and it does matter, yes, okay. But do you not see what is happening? We are being divided, and through that division, the powers that be will conquer us. And have you not seen or witnessed over the past 10, 20 years, as you are divided, and as each little group is picked off, the next group is in line for the fire. So if you think that you're in the powerful group and you're allowed to complain, you're next. Think of what it was like when I don't know, especially single white men were isolated and hounded and hijacked, and they were told, you're no good for society, you're just horrible, your masculinity is not wanted here, that sort of thing. I felt sorry for them, I really did. I stood up for them and I started learning all about the male and female brains, and it's one thing that made me determined to find out more about it. And men are honourable, on the whole, honourable, mainly in general. And if you go to my Bewley Therapy channel, you'll start seeing my videos, my workshops I've done on gender. Anyway, it wasn't long before we started picking on other groups. Now, I'm apparently called either a Susan or a Karen. The publishing industry apparently is dominated by white Susans, females, about my age, middle class. I'm not middle class anymore. It could be classed as poor. Oh dear. Yes, I used to have a little house, and I didn't have the kids, but the house, the man, the car, the nice job at the university. Not anymore. And I like reading Peter Hitchens on a Sunday. And I don't know if you noticed that the Daily Mail during the week is very left based or biased. It stands firmly in the left. But if you go to the weekend papers, you'll find that they are either neutral or stepping towards the right hand side of society. And I don't know about these left-right divides, it's just crazy to me. If you've got an opinion, you've got a view on life, just state it, you know. It doesn't have to be called left or right, but you can see where society's been divided, and I think Brexit highlighted that very much so. It showed which way or what people are actually like, what they can be like. Crazy. But anyway, if this continues, I know that this pandemic is over for now, but there are several countries that are on the off list. And you know why you're not allowed to visit them? And because they are not deemed safe or appropriate to go and visit. Because they've rebelled against this lockdown. You go and have a look. I think Algeria is one of them. And they're all not Middle Eastern countries, but Eastern European countries. And Sweden. Sweden, you're not allowed to go and see Sweden, even though you know, they've proved that the virus isn't bad. Oh, I'll probably get condemned for saying that, but you know, just look, it's fear-mongering. If you don't know that there are certain elite people in charge of you by now, controlling your destinations and actually gunning for depopulation of the world, then you must be asleep. That's all I can say. I can't put it any other way. There is some kind of evil force around here that's making everything go to batshit. I really do want to reset. They don't want us anymore. We've proved useful for a time being. We've set up what they wanted to. They've used our brains, used our manual labour to feather their nests and create a world that they want. Now they don't need us anymore. So they're figuring out ways to make us fight each other so that they don't have to be accused of taking them to war, taking us all to war again. I hate talking like this. I wanted my van life to be happy and exploring things and going out and seeing and meeting people. But it seems like I'm just forever talking about this crap. Where'd that go? I don't know. It's a nice day today. It's a bit chilly, but this morning, but it's nice. The sun shines out. To go and get my van done again. That indicator light came up again. I've got my tyres changed, my battery sorted. I've got another battery there. I've got to put new battery, leisure battery in. Change it over. It's so heavy I can't get the old one out. So I need a man, see? I need a man to do it. I need his muscles. Anyway, please try to see outside the box. Try to see that this world is odd. It's like somebody's looked in a mirror and it's all inverted. Shouldn't be this way. And to think that if that is true, that they've murdered all those older people in care homes, put them on this diazepam, or what it's called, Valium, I think, just to hasten their demise, because they were overwhelmed with people coming from hospitals into care homes instead. And now hospitals are shutting their doors to walk-ins. So if you have an accident, you break your arm, you can't just get in a car and go to the nearest A&E. That's what's going to happen in the future. And it's all to push you to go privately, because if you can't get into a hospital, what are you going to do? You're going to pay for it, aren't you? And then what does that do to people who can't afford it? Don't get any medical care. It's so sad. We had such a wonderful society. I know there was trouble. For weeks and weeks and weeks and months and years we were talking about the environment. That's gone out the window now, isn't it? Not talking about that anymore, are they? Climate change, there is climate change. Yeah, it's constantly changing. Up and down, up and down, up and down, all throughout the millennia. All throughout the millions of years this planet has been here, it's changing. But when I was a kid, I was taught at school that there was going to be a global ice age. So I was learning and preparing and making sure I was able to live in an igloo. Yes, that's what I was doing. And then they changed it to global warming. I don't know why they did that. That was a bit short-sighted, wasn't it? Surely they knew that within 20 years they would find out that's not true. Especially living in a country like Britain, where you're constantly getting climate change. And so they called it climate change. Because it is changing all the time. That's the truth. The Arctic is always melting every year. You just have to be worried if the Antarctic starts melting. And there is one little shelf on the Antarctic that melts, and that's just that little point that comes out. And then it grows back again. And that's what the North Pole does. North Pole melts and then comes back, freezes again. But if the Antarctica unfreezes, we're in trouble. Because that's when the water levels will rise. But okay, try and live your life as best you can. With regard to masks, don't wear them all the time. It's not good for you. It doesn't allow oxygen to get into your system. It doesn't. Loads and loads of nurses and doctors have been highlighting this fact. They're only supposed to be worn for a short period of time. Don't wear them all the time, not all day long. If you want to go to the shops and we have to wear masks, that's a good way of rebelling. But you all have to do it en masse, because you can't do it one single person at a time, because they'll just pick you off, single people. Not, the person who's just one doing it in the crowd. They'll just arrest them, take them up to jail and never see them again. But if you all do it en masse, they can't do anything, because they haven't got enough jails to put us all in. You've got your own home, you can put under house arrest, I guess, or before long they'd be doing what the Chinese did and screwing the doors shut so you can't get out. Those poor people, I can't believe they actually thought that was all right to do. Don't care about people. They're young lads. Screwing the doors shut so these poor people couldn't get out of their houses. Why? It's not even a real bug. It's a bloody flu. Coronavirus has been around for years. I don't know anybody who's got it, personally. I know an older gentleman has said that his friends have got it, but they're all like in their 70s, 80s, and they've been diagnosed with it. But the thing is, that's handy. Stick them in a care home, stick them in a hospital, give them drugs until they die. That's they don't want to pay the bloody pensions because they've no money in the pot anymore. Can't you see this? Am I just weird? Perhaps I am. Perhaps I am weird. Perhaps I am the one who's... I just keep thinking, okay, if this is not true, what I'm thinking, and these are all stories that are going around and it's all fake news, then why is it? Why is that news around? Why are people around me not dropping like flies? those people that you saw in China that were falling down on the street, that's because they've got a smog problem over there. You've got very heavy industrialised areas where there's a lot of poison in the air. And some people just can't cope with it, especially as you get older. Can you imagine what this place is going to be like when we're not here? And those elite have got the planet to themselves. How cruel can they be? I just don't know how anybody can think like that. They've got no empathy. And there is a difference between empathy and sympathy. When you empathise with somebody, you've experienced it yourself and you can feel it and you know what they're going through because you've been through it yourself. And so you align your heart with them and you feel. But when you sympathise with somebody, you go, oh, it's really sad, I'm sorry to hear that. You don't experience it yourself, you don't know what they're going through, but you can say nice things to them and comfort them. That's the difference. You want it in layman's terms. But anyway, on my Facebook Beauty Therapy page, I've put up some papers that show you about the dangers of face masks and how they unbalance the carbon dioxide and oxygen levels in your body, so it makes you go dizzy and you're more susceptible to illnesses. They're okay in the short term. If you're walking around the shop really quick, fine, if you want to do that. If you think that there's a virus around that's going to get you, go for it. It's up to you. But wearing a face mask in the street, out in the open air, or in your own homes, it's not going to do you any good. You think about it. What do we do when somebody panics? We give them a brown paper bag and you breathe into it, don't you? You go to calm yourself down. Because prior to that, when you are having a panic attack, what happens is that you're breathing really sharply and quickly like that. So you feel your head go dizzy, don't you? And you feel faint. You don't actually faint. But you feel faint. And so when you breathe into a brown paper bag, that balances that out again till you feel calm and normal and sane. That's what the masks are doing. They're also, you know, the fibres are not small enough to not allow the viruses through because they are tiny viruses. So a virus will get through. It's not to protect you or anybody else. It's to make you more ill. If you look online, you see any nurse, any doctor telling you this. They will. You look at the papers. I've looked at the papers. They're on my Facebook page. Go and see the links. Or I'll put them down here. You can have a look yourself. Some of them are written in academic language, like medical language that you can't really understand. But just ignore those and take the salient message from it. If you can't read the Latin language, just read the language you can understand. Or the names for the drugs, or the names for the Latin names for the actual lungs and air passages. Then ignore those and look. Look at the data. Look at it properly. And this country, this UK country, is £16.3 trillion in debt right now because of this. And you think of these companies, businesses all over the country that cannot go back, that are devastated. And if they file for bankruptcy, then all the people who have loaned them money are not going to get their money back. So they're going to be devastated. I just don't know how we're going to recover from this. And I've gone, you know, I've lost my job at a time, the worst time in history. Just. If I'd stayed in employment, I would have had March, April, May, June, July, 5 months' pay. Just gone, just like that. Now, I thought, you know, I thought it would be easy just to get another little part-time job somewhere and just bumble along the country on my little trip that I wanted to go on. Getting little part-time jobs where I could. Volunteer my help. But, you know, can't do that anymore. Society has changed. Just like that. You think it can't get any worse? I thought I'd hit rock bottom in February, March time. But no, rock bottom's got a bottom too. I'm slowly sinking down there. I just, anyway, I have to get a move on. To go and see a man about a van. Go and see this. See if we can sort out my error message and put my battery in. We'll see. Please keep your eyes open, listen, learn. I would have had a coffee with me, but that kettle takes such a long time to heat up. You know, it's the time, 8:30. I gotta get ready. Just be vigilant, because, you know, we are all gonna die if we do not wake up now. I'm being serious about it. I'm not in another world. I'm not on another planet. I'm on this one. Have my coffee. Get ready to go.